Serious, psychologists of Reddit, what are some good ways to stay mentally healthy? Remember, you're more than you give yourself credit for. Sometimes people get hyper-focused on their jobs, they begin to feel like their whole life is about sitting behind their desk. Remember, you're also a friend, member of the family, sports fan, etc. There are so many different aspects which make up who we are. It's important to remember this, especially when one aspect of our life begins to cause us distress. Therefore, it is also important to make time for these parts of who we are. It's so true. I get tired of meeting new people and before you know it they ask you what you do for a living and then that's who you are in their eyes. Primarily, don't be afraid to ask for help if you think that you need it. You can have a disorder and still be mentally healthy. They only become unhealthy if not treated. Be kinder to yourself. Set the same expectations for yourself as you do for other people. Too often we judge ourselves harsher than the rest of the world, and it ends up making us anxious and or depressed because we never feel accomplished. Pat yourself on the back. If you do something, anything, that is hard for you, give yourself credit for having done it. Doesn't matter if all you did was get out bed. If it was hard, be proud. Validate yourself. Remind yourself why you are supposed to feel the way you do. Even if your problems don't seem as big as someone else's, they matter to you and you're supposed to feel things. But once you acknowledge you feel something, take care of that feeling. Don't try to shoo the feeling away. It needs to be cared for. Find someone you can talk to. If there are people who seem genuinely concerned about you as a person, start sharing small details about your feelings and see if they show they are good listeners. If you don't have people you think show concern, ask yourself whether you think you know where to find them. If you don't know where to find them, or don't feel ready to take that step, find a therapist to be this person until you can find more people in your life to fit the bill. I am the opposite. I find myself judging someone harshly, and only later realize I do as bad or even worse than they. I would say find a good way to process your problems. Don't just suppress them. Think about it, try to understand what happened, how you reacted to it, and how you feel about it. Process it outside of your mind as well. Write it down. Talk about it. It can make all the difference compared to just keeping it inside your head. Try to understand your emotions. When you are feeling emotional, ask yourself what exactly happened that made you feel that way. Ask yourself why it made you feel this way. Understanding where your emotions came from, and maybe also what their functions are, can make it easier to deal with them. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. For example, if you are married, make sure that everything does not revolve around you, so make sure you have your own friends, hobbies, etc. It's just not healthy to have only one person in your life, and you never know what could happen with your so. For example, divorce, death. Practice mindfulness. Take 5 minutes out of your day, regardless of how busy you are. That 5 minutes will not make or break you, and just relax. For example, visual imagery, whatever works for you. Remember that you are not alone if you have a mental disorder. So many people feel that they are alone, and that nobody could possibly feel the same as them or have experienced the things that they have. Stay physically healthy. For example, drink water, exercise, eat healthy foods, alcohol, drugs in moderation, get enough sleep. This is one I need to work on more myself. Get help before things get really bad. For example, if you find that you are feeling depressed, and have been for a while, find a psychiatrist and or a psychologist ASAP. When feeling down, remind yourself of all of your positive attributes. It's very easy to focus on the negative things that occur in our everyday life, and forget about all of the positive things we have going for us. Remove toxic people from your life. The type of friends who are fair weather, who don't listen to you but rather are just waiting for their turn to talk. The ones who always have drama but then dismiss your drama. The ones who don't validate your feelings, but constantly need you to validate theirs. Eat healthy, exercise, get a pet, socialize regularly, try new activities, learn new skills, set yourself realistic and specific goals and try to accomplish them. And finally, remember, being happy every second of your life is impossible. Invest in yourself. Make time for yourself. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in being mother, sister, daughter, wife, friend, employee, father, brother, son, husband, and forget to just be you sometimes. Take up a hobby for no other reason than you enjoy it. Take a class that interests you, just for fun. Volunteer. Read a book. Just spend a little time doing something for the joy of it. I promise, you will recharge and ready to handle all of those other roles gracefully when you make yourself a priority. You have to put your mask on before you can help those around you. I signed up for a group guitar class and can't believe how fun it is, and how much I look forward to it. This is great advice, as are the tips for meditating and exercise. Self-care. Whether you're a student or you have a job, you're going to get tired and stressed out by things. It's inevitable. In order to keep yourself from getting overwhelmed with anxiety or depressed, you have to do things that are relaxing and enjoyable. Self-care is really a broad concept. Getting good sleep, eating right, and exercising are pretty obvious forms of self-care, but self-care also includes doing things that make you happy. Whether it's watching Netflix, playing video games, or going out for a drink, whatever you have in life that you enjoy doing in your free time can be self-care. You don't want to use self-care as a way to procrastinate, but it's important to do things to keep your mind and body right. If you feel good and you're happy, you'll perform a lot better than if you're stressed out, depressed, and overwhelmed. Keeping your brain active and having a purpose in life seems to help protect you against the deterioration of old age. For example, once people retire, if they don't find something to give their life meaning, something to do every day, they often fall into depression and become more susceptible to dementia and other health issues. So, do puzzles, play solitaire or whatever you might be interested in. Keep your mind active, and try to have a reason to get out of bed each day. Obligatory. I'm a master's level counselor, not psychologist. Find something that gives you purpose and meaning in life, and always try to be working towards some sort of goal. Try to avoid negative self-talk, and be able to forgive yourself. Practice mindfulness to stay in the present and focus on the here and now. Get enough sleep, go to bed and wake up around the same time every day. Maintain social connections. If you feel something is off mentally or emotionally, don't hesitate to seek outside help before things get worse. Edit. Change do to don't. Don't wait until you're broken down to take care of yourself. Take some time out every day for some mindfulness, self-soothing, self-care, whatever it is you need to de-stress. It's very likely you're doing something already that you just need to appreciate more, put more intention into, or invest a little more actual thought and emotion into. Maintenance. You take your car for service, an oil check, filling your tires, etc. before the damage occurs. Why do differently for yourself and not maintain psychological, physical, spiritual, etc. health? Connect with other people. Do things you enjoy. Getting outside of your own head does wonders for your perspective on life. If you've experienced trauma in the past, and you now suffer from intense or severe anxiety, it's possible you have PTSD. There are very effective treatments for PTSD. I know firsthand. EMDR has worked wonders for me and my generalized anxiety disorder. Basically, find treatment for your anxiety and past traumas. It's possible you never process the trauma in a healthy manner to begin with, and it's not too late, even if it's decades later. In the external world. 1. Exercise. 2. Practice mindfulness meditation 12 minutes a day. 3. Read literature. 4. Sleep 7 hours or more each night. 5. Tell a friend or two how you are really feeling, even when it's inconvenient, or embarrassing, or goes against how you like to think of yourself. 6. Do things that are new to you, where you can feel creative, and like you are a beginner, in your internal world. 1. Be honest with yourself about what you are feeling. 2. Learn to be patient with yourself in your foibles, vulnerabilities, and imperfections. 3. Try to think of things through other people's eyes. 4. When confused or troubled about some aspect of yourself, talk to a friend about it. If it persists, find an experienced psychotherapist and get some help with it. Source: clinical psychologist. Exercise and watching your diet can immensely contribute to proper mental health. Just in the confidence alone and sense of achieving something is great. Also, meditation. Let the thoughts float by like a boat on the ocean or a cloud in the sky slowly drifting out of sight. Acknowledge the thought but do not focus on the thought. Focus on your breath. Your brain processes information that you really can filter out, and it will allow you be more calm and collected in any situation if you practice the filter. Stay healthy, friends. Be good people. Be kind to people and do nice things. It will boost levels of pleasure in your brain. This is way too far down. Exercise works better than drugs and without the side effects. A lot of supposedly psychological problems are down to the modern lifestyle of not moving around much. Be your own best friend. What would you do to help your best friend? Even if that friend is your dog, you would be kind to them. Tell them when they are making decisions that is hurtful to themselves. Make sure they are keeping healthy and getting the right things in their life for them to thrive. Why don't we give ourselves the same level of respect? You deserve it as much as anyone else. Be a best friend to yourself. Make decisions in the third person if you're having a depressed state. Do what you know to be right for your best friend. Then do it to yourself. This has worked wonders for me over the years. It's very simple and actionable. Undergrad student in psychology here. I have a few suggestions. Take or leave them. 1. Read something new constantly. Reread works that you love. 2. Read ideas that challenge your beliefs. 3. Maintain your physical health. Run, manicure, get a haircut, wash, etc. 4. Eat when you are hungry, and stop when you aren't hungry anymore. Don't eat by times or by the portion of your plate. 5. When you are stressed, before you act on your stress, take a short break where you breathe and think about nothing. Just stare at a picture or watch a short TV show. Breathe deeply and strongly. 6. If you are having issues with how others are acting, remember the tenets of Stoicism and try to act in a manner that would be noble. 7. Find a religion. Not necessarily a religion, but something to believe in, be it Christianity or the gym. Just have something that introduces a routine that can be followed, or something that gives each day, each week purpose. 8. When met with a challenge, first stop and breathe and think. Don't freak out at the drop of the hat. This is mentally unhealthy to immediately overreact to stress. 9. Take one day at a time. Set goals for the day, the week and the month. If you meet your goals, give yourself a small reward, a cookie or a new shirt. If you meet goals that you have had for long periods of time, treat yourself to a nice bottle of wine or scotch, or celebrate with loved ones. 10. If someone you love is a damaging force in your life, then you need to limit your exposure to this person. For example, a mother that is overbearing or disparaging can be devastating for self-esteem. Limit your exposure by avoiding her during periods of intense stress, and when you are mentally strong enough, deal with the mother. 11. Ruthlessly cutting people off. Advice like you might see on Twitter and pictures about not having negativity in your life or dropping all contact from someone is not beneficial to your mental health. In order to deal with a negative force, closure does far more for you than cutting that force off. If you plan to cut someone out of your life, take them aside, privately, explain to them, kindly and with respect, that they are negatively affecting your life, and that you need time to grow apart from this person. Don't be afraid of anger, tears or sorrow, because you are helping yourself, and the relationship can always be mended. 12. Find a quote that you identify with or find particularly affirming. Write it out on a note card, and place it where you can read it every day. My personal quote is, I ask not for a lighter burden, but for broader shoulders. 13. Take one day, at least once a month, or twice, or once a week if you need it, to respect yourself and relax. Do what makes you stress-free. Watch TV, smoke a cigar, sip a beer, walk the dog, mow the grass. Something that allows for repetition and low amounts of cognition. Self-care. It is important to take care of yourself. You trim your nails and brush your teeth and take showers. But do you have any rituals to maintain or improve your headspace? I like to play on my phone under the blankets. If I pass a pet store, I always stop to visit the animals. I will occasionally buy a doodad for my hat. Try to fight against the 3 major musts. 1. People must like me or I am no good. 2. People must do the right thing, or be kind to me or they deserve to be punished. 3. Life must be easy and without struggle or inconvenience. call yourself on these and life will be much more manageable. Follow your passions. You don't necessarily have to make a career out of it, but doing it as a hobby can make all the difference. Save up and travel. Go to that open mic you were afraid to do last year. Go take that cooking class you've been meaning to take. You never know where it might lead. If someone makes you unhappy, don't be afraid to cut them out of your life. Toxic people bear a huge weight on your mental health. With that being said, build an amazing support system around you. It doesn't have to be the family you're born into. It can be as big or as small as you choose. Having just 1 or 2 people who have your back no matter what can make you. Just always be yourself. If something makes you uncomfortable, don't be afraid to speak up. If you don't like something, don't pretend to like it for the sake of fitting in. If you need help, always ask for it. Don't try and treat your health, physical or mental, on your own. It's better to have a diagnosis and learn how to healthily cope with it, than to have no diagnosis at all and suffer from it because you're too stubborn to go ask for help. And at the end, if you fail at something, it's alright. Learn how to brush it off. It's not the end of the world and it just wasn't meant to be. As cliche as that sounds, you'll end up where you're supposed to be in life. Avoid the news. News is mostly negative. And when you read a negative headline or story, you start creating this scenario in your imagination, similar to when you read a book, which can impact your mood in a negative way. Have a hobby. When you have a hobby, it becomes your happy place, which always gives you a positive boost mentally. Having a hobby also always gives you something to look forward to. When everything else is going to crap in your life, you can at least look forward to that new video game coming in 2 weeks. I get what you're saying, but surely it's mentally unhealthy to avoid bad things rather than learning to cope. News, including bad news, is something you should not ignore. 1. Push yourself slightly out of your comfort zone once a day. What do you avoid due to anxiety? Try pushing yourself to do something you would rate as 4/10 anxiety. If you do it every day for a few days, you will find out it is a 3/10 before too long and gets easier to do. Our bodies were born with the capacity to get used to things. This is called habituation. It only works when we face our fears. Avoidance makes the fear go away in the short term but grow massive in the long term. 2. If your mood is low, do not wait for motivation to do things. Doing the thing is what grows your motivation. Make a rule to leave the home once a day and to engage in 1 social interaction a day. To start, also get involved in doing 1 activity a day that used to bring you pleasure before you had low mood. 3. Thoughts are just thoughts. We have thousands of silly thoughts a day. A major difference between mental health and mental disability is the ability to ignore silly thought or talk back to them. There's that silly thought that says everyone at work hates me. Only Bill actually hates me. Many people don't know me yet. I will say hi to 3 people today to prove my thoughts wrong. Not a psychologist but a social worker. Socialize. I'm serious. Even if it's just getting out as far as the grocery store for a sod or the local McDonald's for a burger. Go in briefly, smile and have someone smile back. Get a brief exchange of words in. I think it's helpful to remind ourselves that we exist. If nothing else, the clients that stay inside for days at a time tend to do worse. This is important and I can't believe it's not on here yet. Get involved in your community. Volunteer. Expand your social circles. Humans are social creatures and without social interaction you can go downhill fast. You need other people to keep you grounded, to remind you that you're just a person and that others are important too. Practice empathy. Get different perspectives. And learn new things. Exercise. Specifically non-competitive, rhythmic and predictable, moderately intense exercise which lasts 20-30 minutes per day. Meditate, pray for 5-7 minutes a day. Clear your mind, breathe deeply, and talk to God, the universe, your departed ancestors, energy, the flying spaghetti monster. I don't care. But for 5-7 minutes I want you to do nothing else but sit, exist, and ground yourself. Avoid excessive use of illicit drugs, caffeine, and alcohol. Avoid them altogether if you can. Get enough sleep. Shoot for 8 hours. Don't look at screens for 30 minutes before trying to sleep, it'll not help. White noise can help, but a TV on will shine light and prevent proper sleep cycles. Eat balanced. Make sure you're hitting your macros. Protein, carbs, fats, etc. A diet of only salad or of only burritos is no good on either side of the spectrum. Make sure you're drinking enough plain, clear, flat water, 8 glasses a day. Reach out to at least one person a day. Even just a smile to a stranger, holding open a door, getting in touch with an old friend, anything. Social connections make us feel wanted and like we belong in this world. The best method I have for staying mentally healthy and preventing a breakdown is to realize that this, too, shall pass. Don't let someone else's crazy make you crazy. All you can do is sweep your side of the street. They have to sweep their own. Don't let someone force you into their drama. Don't let them make their problems your problems. Even if you want to help and agree to help them, do not lose yourself in their issues. That is their life. You have your own. And as a SAR, therapists are here for preventative care. 2. You don't have to be depressed or crazy to come see us. We take perfectly mentally healthy people. 2. To help you learn how to maximize your skills and abilities and prevent breakdowns or stress buildup. Don't engage in negative self-talk. It is not motivating to denigrate yourself. It only makes you feel less capable of achieving your goals. Have goals, but don't focus on the end point. Focus on behaviors you can change in the here and now. If you want to get fit, don't focus on the muscles you'll have in the future, but on the processes that get those muscles. Make the time, frequency, and intensity, building up slowly, your goals and recognize your achievements when you accomplish them, like getting up early, spending 10 minutes on your lifting, etc. This goes for everything. Focus on the achieving the steps, incrementally improving rather than some larger goal. Give yourself encouraging talk when you succeed. Learn from the failure by considering how you set yourself up not to reach the behavioral goal on any given day. Like you didn't get up early, you ate too much and felt too bloated to exercise, etc. And tell yourself that you will fix that problem next time to improve your chances of success. Focus on life experiences over material gain. The best way to find yourself in a state of existential crisis and depression is to think about what is superficial as holding value or identifying with your possessions rather than your character. Don't consume too much media, TV, internet, gaming, etc. Find a balance between work, bodily movement, life requirements, cooking, cleaning, etc., creative input, aforementioned media, and creative output. Too many people are exhausted and their answer is to sit around staring at a screen. You will find that sitting for a short time, then getting up and taking a walk or making yourself a nice dinner will energize you more than staring at a screen all night and eating some sort of microwave pre-prepared meal. Energizing yourself does not only come from being at complete rest. Don't multitask or surf so much. It desensitizes you to stimuli, degrades focus, and is mentally tiring. Be in touch with your senses. Slow down and pay attention to the world around you. See what is to be seen. Hear what is to be heard. Smell the scents. Touch soft and pleasant things. Hug people. And be in the moment. You don't have to do this for minutes at a time. Just pause in your day once in a while and be fully present to reality. This can take 10 seconds, but it will orient you to the world in a way that is very grounding. Exercising. You'd be surprised just how much better it can make you feel. Lots of mild depression cases can be ended quite well by simply getting up and going out and using the living, breathing body that we own. No one said it, but keep your microbiome healthy. There is increasing amount of evidence suggesting strong links between gut and brain. Remember, mental resources are finite just like your physical fitness ones. Lots of interesting studies on this, especially with higher reasoning. Accordingly, take time to rest and chillax. You will be much better for it and more productive overall. Never stop taking in knowledge. Find something you think sound interesting and learn a bit about it. Go down the rabbit hole. Explore, explore, explore. Who knows? It could turn into a great hobby, or even an interesting career. Not only can learning benefit your mental health, but also your social relations. We all like interesting people, and having something to be genuinely enthusiastic about is an amazing thing. You will face hardships. That is inevitable. The key to coping with them is to have several areas of your life on which you base your self-esteem. For example, if you have work, friends, relationship, a hobby you're good at, and your extended family and one of them falls apart or goes badly, you will be able to cope quite well by finding comfort in and focusing on the other. However, if you have just one or two, is one fails, a much larger part of your sense of self is rumbled. I like to think of it as having many legs to stand on. We have a tendency to focus on what goes badly, which doesn't always help us. Of course, if you feel stuck and unable to cope, you should seek support and help. I don't condone ignoring issues, not try to not dwell on them. The easiest way to do that is focusing on what works. An example from my private life. My boyfriend broke up with me a couple of months ago. It was horrible, and I felt like I was dying. However, after a couple of weeks of crying, cursing, and feeling depressed, I started to see that I still have things that work for me, and eventually I have started to add new things, new hobbies and such. Second, try to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion should not be confused with self-pity, but has more to do with the ability to treat yourself the same way you would treat others. You are a human, existing under the same human conditions as everyone else. Be kind to yourself, but also acknowledge your strengths. Third, exercise. It greatly reduces the risk for depression and eases anxiety. Thanks for this. Just got through a breakup with who I thought was my soulmate. Been doing a lot of things already, but this fortifies the thought. Most people know the things that make them happy and don't need a psychologist to tell them. We all know that eating well, sleeping, and exercise are good for us. So find the time to do things that make you happy. Leading a happy, fulfilled life leads to being mentally healthy. You are enough. You have many great qualities, loves, interests. You are a unique person. You are a snowflake. There is no one like you in the entire world. How amazing is that? What do you enjoy? What do you want for your life? Go and do them. We waste so much time not doing what we really want to do for really no good reason. Before we know it, we're on our deathbeds regretting all the things we didn't do for reasons we can't recall. You are number one, even above your children. Why? When you get on an airplane and they tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping anyone else. Why do they do that? Because if you've passed out from hypoxia, how the heck can you help anyone else? If you do not look after yourself, how are you going to be the best person you can be to yourself and other people? Therefore, my number one tip is this: take some time every single day for you and only you. Good time. At least half an hour. I don't want you to give a single crap about anyone else for that time. They do not exist. If you want to work out, drown in music, masturbate ferociously, get high, work on your career, cry, whatever. Something that is purely for your own enjoyment. And then you go back to your life. That time over the space of a year and lifetime adds up, and that's just standard me time. You'll have additional me time on top of all that. If you invest in your own happiness, not only will you feel better in your emotion and yourself, you'll be better for your other relationships because you are a better you. Because really, that's the only be you can rely on in life. And if you can't look after you, then what's the point? If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.